tell me a little bit about your involvement in the process of hiring the new basketball coach.
Well, the involvement was a bit tedious. We advertised about 2 months ago, actually, this whole process began, and we submitted advertisements to various newspapers going as far out as Pittsburgh, Sharon, the Newcastle, Youngstown area. And we gathered up, I would say, about 15 to 18 applications, and the athletic committee sorted through those and they narrowed it down. Now, this was the first time around. They narrowed it down to 5 candidates. And they interviewed those 5 candidates, and they couldn't come to a consensus on the candidate. So at that point in time, they decided to re-advertise. And what we did the second time, we didn't go out to the Pittsburgh area whatsoever. We kept it relatively local. Sharon, Newcastle, Youngstown. Strangely enough, we got about 10 candidates. Three of the candidates that applied originally reapplied. So, and we interviewed them. We interviewed those 3 candidates, and then there was 2 new candidates that we interviewed. So again, there was a total of 5 candidates that we interviewed.
Did you guys go through the interview process twice then, or was it?
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. And tonight, I'm glad to report that we did. There was a consensus, and they did come up with a candidate, Scott Dibble.
Was Scott one of the people who applied the first time around?
Yes, he was.
Yes. Was there any kind of, I don't know, what caused you guys to kind of come to the conclusion that he was the right guy this time around?
I guess the board, actually the athletic committee that did the interviewing, they felt that his second interview was much better than his first interview. That's all I could deduct from that.
Were you part of the athletic committee?
I am an ex officio member, which means that I sit on the committee. I sit on all committees, but I'm a non-voting member of the committee.
I see.
And occasionally they'll ask me for some advice.
Well, the basketball team's had a lot of success over the last probably 5-6 years, even going back further than that.
That's correct.
Just talk about what kind of expectations you have for Scott in the next coming years.
Well, obviously we have very high expectations for Scott, but I want to emphasize that, and probably one of the determining factors too that's very important to us, that Scott emphasized that we're looking for a basketball coach, but we're also looking for somebody who could mold our students into good student athletes, meaning that they do well in school. And that academics is a very important part, and basketball is extracurricular. And he emphasized that quite a bit in his interview today, and I think that's what really put him over the top.
I see. I know he's had a lot of success at Villa Maria. He won a couple of state titles, if I remember correctly.
That's correct.
How much does that past success factor into a decision like this?
Well, I would venture to say it factored in quite a bit. Anybody with a proven track record, certainly that works to his advantage. And that did come up in the deliberations that the board conducted. After the interviews, they referred back to his successes.
Was there other candidates who were, pretty close, considering you guys went through this process twice? I'm assuming there had to be a couple people.
Yes, there were.
Yeah,
there were.
Was it the experience that put him over the top? Was there anything specific in your eyes? I know you can't speak for the committee, but
as I said earlier, I think the fact that his emphasis was on creating students who are going to be respectful and polite on and off the court. He emphasized that. He also emphasized the fact that grades are very important. That it's not just all about basketball. And then again, as you mentioned, his record, in his 2 championship records. Played a good part in that too, I would believe.
Hard to overlook that kind of
It's hard to overlook that, sure.
I know he had a few brush-ups in the past, some PFA order against his wife. Was that something you guys had to factor in?
We did factor that in, yes. And during the interview process, it came up, and I guess to summarize that, we all believe in redemption. We all believe that folks make mistakes in life, and he was very passionate about the fact that he had made mistakes in his past. He was very forthcoming with us. It's noteworthy to say that his mistakes never ever spilled into the basketball court or with any of his students or with any of those players. It was strictly a personal matter. I, for one, was very impressed in the second interview of his sincerity, that he has made mistakes in his life, and they're over with. And that's, I take him for his word. I believe him.
Okay. Well, hey, I appreciate time. Nice talking with you.
Thank you.